morning. Today is Thursday, August 28th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zori and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, and you?
I'm okay. Had weird dreams last night, but oh well, what are you going to do?
What'd you eat right before you went to bed?
No.
No?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I had no idea why I was doing weird stuff. But
that's weird. Yeah, I worked in the yard. I was so tired. I just passed out around 7 and woke up at midnight. Got up, took my shower, and went back to bed. Yeah.
That'll do it. That'll do it every time.
Yeah, because it was 101, so I really shouldn't have been out there working hard in it, but I wanted to get this stuff done.
My goodness. What can you do? What did you have to do? I mean, in that heat, I don't think I could even tolerate being out there.
Well, I dug up my garden and put all my stuff in my compost and...
Oh, right.
Yeah, but just, yard stuff to do. I needed the sun anyway.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so, anyway, I got a crazy story. And,
Great.
It's beyond stupidity. I'm telling you. It's North Augusta, South Carolina. A woman was handcuffed and taken to jail when she was accused of using prohibited language in a grocery store. Danielle Wolf, a 22-year-old mother of two, admits to getting frustrated while shopping August 10th, 2014. She admitted that when her husband piled frozen pizza on top of the loaves of bread in her shopping cart, she told him to stop squishing the effing bread. But a busybody eyewitness thought the language was inappropriate. Wolf claims the female witness confronted her and then phoned police. She's like, "You used the F word, Mrs. Wolf," told WJBF. North August police officer Travis A. Smith arrived at the Kruger grocery store and arrested the mom. He was like, "You're under arrest." Right in front of the kids, in front of my husband, in front of the customers, Mrs. Wolf told WJBF of the officer who approached her in the store. I didn't harm nobody. I didn't hurt nobody, Mrs. Wolf said. The lady said she was having a bad day, so because you're having a bad day, you're going to ruin somebody's life. Danielle Wolf was handcuffed, placed in a police car, and taken to jail. Facing disorderly conduct charges, she is due in court in September. The North August City Code of Ordinances defines disorderly conduct, Section 16-84, as riotous conduct of any kind, to cry out in a noisy, scandalous, or abusive manner in a public place, or to utter while in a state of anger in the presence of anyone any lewd or obscene words. The city's prohibition of speech and the vaguely drawn ordinance allows police officers an excessively broad discretion in making arrests under the dubious catch-all offense. If the obstinable reason for the law is to protect the children, one might weigh the fact that watching their mother dragged away in shackles might be more traumatic than hearing an arbitrarily frowned upon word. Now, is that not the stupidest thing you ever heard?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this before we left. I seem to remember us talking about this before.
Well, not this one. Not with them arresting her and taking her to jail.
Yeah. I think she was in the grocery store because of the bread. I think I remember this. But it's just another thing of that Tattletale Society bullcrap. I mean, come on.
I know, for a word. Because the woman was having a bad day, she calls the police and has a woman arrested in front of her kids. It's gone so extreme. I don't think that anyone, unless she stayed in bed all day, could get through the day without breaking a law.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, somebody, a matter of fact, I remember saying this when we talked about this. I was at, like, this Celtic festival, and I was, filming a drone that somebody had flying around, and I was flipping it off so that you could see my finger in the foreground and then the drone in the background, and somebody was said to me, "Hey, you're giving the finger in public," you know?
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, no, the dude was terribly offended. You know, I mean, he had his little kids around him, I understand that. They don't know what it means. You know what I mean?
Kids know a lot more than parents think.
Yeah, but these guys were like 5, you know? It was just, I don't know, people are just so, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, and I mean, what happened to freedom of speech? You know,
really don't have it anymore.
No, you don't. And the laws, I mean, they just keep, how many laws, you wonder, can they put out? I mean, Congress puts out probably maybe 1,000 laws a year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when is it going to become a law that you can't breathe in public, maybe?
Well, that will happen very, very shortly because of all the carbon taxes in the carbon footprint, because we're exhaling freaking carbon dioxide. You know what I mean?
This world is just turned upside down. You know, and it just, and more cops are beating people up, and it goes unchecked. You know, I mean, everyone uses the excuse, oh, well, the cops have a dangerous job. Not as dangerous as it used to be. There's less cops killed by people now than there ever has been in all of our history.
Mm-hmm.
Since all the way back to the Western days when everyone carried a gun.
Right.
So where are these laws coming from? These ordinances, these, I don't know. Who's perfect? I don't know anyone who's perfect.
I certainly aren't. That's for sure.
Yeah. You know, even this one, and this one kind of cracked me up, but I don't see how they could do it. But a professor bans college students from saying "bless you" in class.
You've got to be kidding me.
I am not kidding.
How the hell are you going to ban somebody saying that from class? What are you going to do?
Brunswick, Georgia. One professor at the College of Coastal Georgia has banned students from saying "bless you" in his class. Campus Reform reports that Dr. Leon Garner, assistant professor of chemistry at the College of Coastal Georgia, pointed out his 6 rules on behavior on his introductory physics class. According to the number 6, under the behavioral deduction section of the rules, students' grades will be lowered for saying "bless you." We are taught that it is polite to say "bless you" when someone sneezes. However, if you say it while I'm talking, it is not polite. It is very rude. Gardner states that a student may be deducted up to 15% of their final grade for any student that disrupts his class. He goes on to say in the syllabus that saying "bless you" may result in an immediate 1% grade deduction for each occurrence. Especially egregious behavior could result in expulsion from the class, withdrawal from the course, and disciplinary actions from the college.
It's erogenous.
Erogenous, yeah. Isn't that crazy? I mean...
Well, I mean, okay, if he's going to go that far with his fascist, draconian bullcrap, then he needs to deduct from, like, deduct grade points or whatever from people sneezing and coughing.
Yeah, and then it says last week a high school senior in Tennessee was suspended after breaking a class rule saying "bless you" after a classmate sneezed. This world is
gonna have to.
down.
If they're gonna do that, then they have to go for the actual sneeze next.
You would think.
You know what I mean? No more sneezing, no more coughing, no more farting in class. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's going to come to that. I can guarantee it. I mean, I don't know. It makes me freaking want to puke.
people need to get their kids out of public school because they are just, they're not teaching arithmetic or English or any of that. All they're teaching is how to obey, how to mind the rules. Don't get out of line. Killing all creativity in kids and taking away all like the music classes and stuff like. We're going in such a bad direction, and our kids are being molded right before our eyes and not from us.
No, they're being absolutely taught how to be freaking slaves, good little soldiers, good little followers of the rules. It's just, it's I don't know, you're crazy if you got your kids in public schools nowadays. And colleges are the same way, It's all indoctrination. It's all kids can't get real good jobs after college anyway. It doesn't matter if they got their master's degree or what.
Yeah.
Most of them are still living at home in their parents' basements.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
I know. And people aren't seeing it. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're not talking to their kids after school or... No, because what do they usually... What does the typical kid do when they get home from school? Well, I only know what my daughter did, but they go in and watch TV or go play their games?
Absolutely. That's the first thing most kids do. They go raid the fridge, and then they go play video games. That's what the deal is. And most parents think that's fine because they're occupied until dinner doing that.
Yeah, I forget what state it was. In this one state, their daycare, not daycare, their preschool, it's going to be all in Spanish.
That is alarming.
Yeah,
Holy crap, that's alarming. And oh my God. Oh, this is what I was afraid of. They're going to just... Go ahead. They're just gonna come in here and just take over, man. It's really truly is the North American Union plan in action.
Yeah. And I was reading that some people can't even get work, and they have to either go out of town and get work or move somewhere else if you aren't bilingual, and that's in the United States, all along down by the border. People are having to, leave where they live to get a job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, they gotta show how lazy the American is, you know what I mean? Americans are nothing but lazy, like, white people that just want to lay around, and you gotta have the hard-working Mexican and, to come in here and take over, because they're the only ones that want to work.
Yeah, and I was reading something, I forget how many thousands of immigrants that have come across the border have been put in homes all over the United States, and with no record of where they're going, or and the border's still wide open, and we're getting threats from ISIS saying that they're going to blow things up here, and the border's still wide open.
Oh yeah, well that's all on purpose, and anything because they're dying. They're these bastards that are making all this happen and making they're dying for a crisis to happen here in America so that they can impose martial law and put troops on the streets. That's what they're after. And
you can tell by the way people aren't afraid. They're speaking out, and whenever that happens, well, of course they're not scared anymore, so they're going to make us scared.
That's right. They're going to give us a reason. They're going to give us a reason to be scared.
Yeah. Just like they did, what other rights are they going to take away?
Everything. They're going to take away our lives, not to mention our rights. They want us all dead. That's what the deal is.
Stay in your houses. Don't come out. Don't make us have to work. Don't make us, as it is, one reason why kids, I think, go into their rooms and play their games, if they go out in the streets and if there's more than 3 of them talking together, a cop will come up and ask them what they're doing and tell them to disperse. You know?
Here's one. This is majorly crazy if we're talking about this. Alright, let's see. The mayor of Lynn, Massachusetts, this is all the way up here in Massachusetts, says that some illegal aliens from Guatemala who are enrolled in her city's public schools are adults with graying hair and more wrinkles than I have. Holy crap. They're not children.
And they're enrolling in school?
Yeah. Judith Flanagan Kennedy told reporters at a press conference at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, one of the things that we noticed when we were processing some of these students coming in is that they were all adults. Oh my God. She added that the federal government will not allow school officials to verify their ages, even though one of the students turned out to be 35 years old. Hang on, people, to your hats. Kennedy said that the majority of those from Guatemala who are enrolling in Lynn public schools claim to be between the ages of 14 and 17 years of age. But there were people with graying temples, hair around their temples, said Kennedy, adding that although she did not see these individuals in person, she saw photographs of them in registration paperwork. There were people with more wrinkles than I have around their eyes. However, the school district was directed by the federal government not to verify the age of foreign enrollees. Kennedy said, oh my God, they are taking us out, people. This is the final nail in the coffin of this country, and I don't care what anybody else says about it. We were told through a directive from the Department of Justice that we were not to question or verify or attempt to verify these ages. Even attempt to verify the ages. You can't even attempt to verify it. Oh my gosh. Alright. Kennedy stated at the press conference held by the Center for Immigration Studies. Kennedy said that she and the school superintendent in Lynn wanted to know why the number of students from Guatemala almost doubled from 56 who enrolled during the 2012-2013 school year to 101 during the 2013-2014 school year. When CNSnews.com asked whether she could be more specific about how they determine the ages of those enrolled, Kennedy replied that while the school personnel cannot ask for age verification, they have confirmed that some of them are in fact adults. We have no ability to confront a student directly and demand an accurate age. Kennedy said, every once in a while, we'll be able to determine that someone is well above the age in which they would be entitled to an education in the Lynn public schools. For example, if a student does not show up for a few days in class, we will send our truant officers out to find out what's going on at home, Kennedy explained. One example, the woman answered the door, said, he's 35 years old, he's not going to show up at school. We cannot, per DOJ guidelines, we cannot ask them for any more verification of age, Kennedy said. It becomes very frustrating, she added. Oh my God. Let's see, here we go. In May, the Department of Justice issued a statement to public schools reminding them that they are legally required to enroll all children regardless of their immigration status. You must ensure that you do not discriminate on the basis of race, color, or national origin, and that the students are not barred from enrolling in public schools at the elementary and secondary level on the basis of their own citizenship or immigration status of that of their parents or guardians, the DOJ statement read. However, under federal law, the term child means any person within the age limits for the state provides free public education. In Massachusetts, those between the ages of 3 and 21 are eligible to attend public school. Let me see. At the press conference, Kennedy said the economic impact on American cities like Lynn, which is located about 10 miles north of Boston, includes an increase in cost to taxpayers for educating these overage students and providing them with health services, including vaccinations, which are required for all children attending U.S. public schools. Well, let's just vaccinate all these bastards, man. Maybe that'll take care of them. Jeez. Did I just say that? No. But the federal government has not said whether cities and school districts will be reimbursed for these increased costs. Of course they're not going to be reimbursed. Are you kidding me? She described Lynn as a blue-collar factory town with a diverse population of about 90,000. It is the 9th largest city in Massachusetts and has the 5th largest school district in the state. So that's pretty hardcore there.
No kidding.
I mean, it's the North American Union right here, right now, people. It's already happened. They have already taken the borders down. They just haven't really gone up into Canada yet. And when they start doing that, then you know that the announcement of a North American Union will be shortly following that. Right now they can't get up into Canada because Canada is very they're not quite there yet. This is bad news. This is really, really bad news.
Yeah, and here's another story about Governor Bobby Jindal reported that the Obama administration dumped over 1,000 illegal immigrants on his state without notifying him. In my state, the Obama administration sent over 1,000 children without telling us, without telling social services, without telling the schools, he said on Wednesday, Laura Ingram's show. Jindal added that Jefferson Parish was literally having to hire more and more teachers that speak Spanish. They're thinking about having to offer bonuses and strippage. He alleged that dumping these children without warning broke a promise made by the federal government to keep the state governments in the loop, stating about a month ago, we were on a phone call with cabinet secretaries in the Obama administration. They swore up and down, we'll tell you before we send these kids to your states. This won't have any cost to your states. Despite this promise, Jindal said, we have no information whatsoever from the federal government. I mean, how can it not cost the state when they're sending over 1,000 children that I'm sure, like you just said, get medical, have to go to school, get taught, more teachers that can talk to the kids in their own language? This is crazy. Let's see. Jindal also responded to pushes for immigration reform that include a pathway to legal status for illegal immigrants, such as the initiative pushed by Rep. Paul Ryan by arguing, we tried this in the 80s, and if we do not secure the border, this is going to be a reoccurring issue, and we don't need a comprehensive bill. We need them to secure the border. Yeah, I don't understand what the big problem is in securing the border. I mean,
Well, here's the thing. If some terrorist or whatever comes in from across the border, we need to hold the people that are responsible for that happening isn't the terrorist themselves. It's the Democrats that are screaming for immigration reform. Those are the people who would be responsible for a terror attack on U.S. soil, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it's just the Democrats. There we go on the divided Democrats and Republicans.
Oh, I know, yeah, you're right. No, you're right. There are lots of... it's the people in... Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're totally right.
We got to get away from saying...
No, I understand. But mostly, If you're a Democrat, you're talking like this. And I just think of Boxster, and I think of Feinstein, and that's what I mean when I say that. However, yeah, it's really going to be there. And do you think that if a terror attack does happen on this soil, do you think that any of these Congress people or senators are going to, be held responsible? They're not.
No,
they're not.
No, and I don't know. Everything's just so crazy, and if things change, their stories change day to day, and if you look back, if anyone watches the news and goes back and looks like 5 months from before, you'll find a complete opposite of what's being said now. And people, I don't know why people don't see it. Is their memory that short?
Yeah.
Have they already started giving that pill that gives you happy thoughts instead of bad memories?
That's right. I mean, I think it's called TV.
A lot of it, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or word of mouth. People hear a story and then it becomes true because it gets repeated on social networking.
Right. Exactly. Here's one. This is a doozy, I'd say. Let's see. It says, border chaos, 375,000 pending immigration cases, while Obama's lawyers go AWOL. Oh, isn't that nice? It says, 2 top federal judges Wednesday said the nation's immigration courts are in chaos, with a backlog of cases at a historic high of 375,000 for just 227 judges, leading to a minimum 3-year delay in hearings for illegal immigrants. Oh, that's real. That's peachy. In Washington, to take advantage of the current crisis, to demand a new court system, the judges accused the Justice Department of treating their courts like Cinderella's abusive family by starving them of money and support, and blamed the insufficient justice funding for letting illegals linger in the country. So this is definitely coming. All this crap is coming down from the Department of Justice. Why? So if that's the case, then we need to hold the Department of Justice accountable if there's a terror attack in this country. That's who we need to hold accountable. Immigration courts are the forgotten stepchild, said immigration judge Dana Lee Marks of San Francisco. She was speaking on behalf of the National Association of Immigration Judges, which she is a president of. Oh, so if she's freaking out, this is kind of getting bad here, guys. Fellow Judge Denise Newman Slavin, the vice president of the Judges Union, said that the courts have the status of Cinderella, having to scrounge for supplies, support, and money. She said that the lack of money forces judges to delay cases, that is, allowing those who are not entitled to be here linger. Really, you think? During their first appearance at a National Press Club event, which I think that lady just spoke at, that was talking about the schools, they also said that the defense lawyers for President Obama promised in June have not showed up. Obama pledged $2 million to AmeriCorps, which was to supply the legal aid. Asked if she had seen any yet, Mark said, "We have not." Sullivan of Miami said, "We have not seen an impact." While the judges said they were feeling the pressure to speed up the processing of the swarms of unaccompanied children crossing the border in the latest crisis, the caseload of about 1,500 per judge is bogging down the system. Mark said that it can take 15 months before the first hearing for an illegal is held. And the court session won't take place for another 3 to 4 years. Wow! That is unfreaking believable, people. And the duel said the situation is getting worse, Row, you think? And may prompt judges to quit. It's a high-stress job, said Marks. She said there could be a tsunami of retirements. The two judges recommended that the immigration court system be given an independent role, broken off from justice and properly funded. Marks said that the number of judges should be doubled. We don't believe that Department of Justice is advocating for us, said Marks. We need to have more money. And there's more money to give them. That's nuts, man.
Well, even more so. My governor, it says, on Monday evening, California Governor Jerry Brown said all Mexicans, including illegal immigrants, are welcome in California. It says, according to the Los Angeles Times, while introducing the Mexican president, who said America is the other Mexico, Brown spoke about the interwoven histories of Mexico and California. He nodded to the immigrants in the room, saying it didn't matter if they had permission to be in the United States. You're all welcome in California, Brown reportedly said. Brown has made California a sanctuary state by signing the Trust Act, giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. He has also expanded financial aid to illegal immigrants by signing the California DREAM Act. Pena Nieto reportedly thanked state officials for embracing foreigners, citing measures that extend state benefits to immigrants. Like, we have people, American citizens, living in the streets in California, and I know in this town, a lot of them live down by the river, and the cops, once a month, go down, tear up their tents and everything, don't give them a chance to pick anything up or anything, and destroy where they're living, and then they won't allow them to sleep, in town on the streets or anything. It's crazy, and yet we're giving benefits to people that are here illegally.
And driver's license, too.
Right. Because it's hard for them to get to work and back, without a driver's license.
Well, it also opens up the door for them to vote, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it says, even during the border crisis, Brown reportedly vowed to find ways to shorten long waits at the Tijuana-San Diego International Border Crossing, saying, if we can put a man on the moon, we can put a man from Mexico to California in 20 minutes.
Oh, my God.
This guy is completely... I don't know how he got reelected. I mean, he was our governor before and was just devastating.
Wasn't he thrown out the first time?
No, he wasn't thrown out, but it was close, It says, in 2012, 28% of Californians were born outside of the United States, according to the New York Times. Hispanic voters reportedly made up 19.2% of California's voters in 2010. And according to Pew Research, Latinos make up nearly 40% of the state's population and have made California only the second state behind New Mexico where whites are not the majority and Latinos are the majority. Even though the University of California has admitted a record number of Hispanics, the Latino caucus has vowed to make affirmative action and bilingual education top legislative priorities. This is insane. I mean, it's not. More people should vote for the state of Jefferson, where we can mine our own borders, because California is it's getting horrible. Really, so bad.
Yeah, if that state of Jefferson does not go through soon, I would be getting the hell out of California. I mean, because... Yeah,
but where are you going to go? This is happening. It's progressively moving to every state in the country.
That's true. Especially
and more, I hear, 3 or 4 more corporations left the United States this month.
Yeah.
You know, more jobs are gone, and Obama's out golfing.
Oh yeah, he's having a good old time. He's hooping it up. That's because the reason why he's out golfing and having a great time when all this stuff is going on is because all the stuff that's going on is exactly according to plan.
Right, he sets it up and then leaves.
Yeah. There's actually, in his mind and in the mind of his handlers, there's nothing wrong. So he can go on vacation all day. It doesn't matter. It's not that he's choosing to ignore, like, crisis that's going on. He's just, everything's going as to plan. So why shouldn't he party it up?
Yeah, it's just, and I don't know. What do you do? I mean, some solutions. I mean, get the National Guard back down at the border. And
I think that instead of, like, funding, taking taxpayer money to educate, like, 40-year-old people, 35-year-old people that don't belong in the schools, it would be a heck of a lot cheaper just to put them on a C-130 and send them back to Guatemala.
And cheaper.
It would be way cheaper to do that.
Mm-hmm. But yet, nobody's coming. You don't hear anyone coming up with any solutions, and that's how disconnected our Congress is from the people. They don't see a problem.
Oh, I know. This is, yeah. And you know what though? I think that they know exactly what they're doing. I think that they've got the North American Union agenda all in their minds. I think they know exactly what they're doing in Congress. I think that they've been directed to, vote the way they're voting and speak the way they're speaking. I'll tell you that right now. It's this whole thing is by design, and it's designed to bring us down to a third world status. We're gonna be no better than the state of Guatemala. It's gonna be reduced to a freaking, like, narco state. I mean, that's what they want America to become, a leper narco state, and then they'll be happy.
Well, they're getting what they want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then when I see these people, it's so difficult not to have stirrings in my heart of, get out of here, you know what I mean? It's just, okay. Alright. I was in Ann Arbor, it was yesterday, and I was behind a bus, and I was going down the road, and the bus stopped, and it must have been about 15 Orientals got out of the bus, and they all crossed the street, and they were going into 15 to 20 of them. There was a ton of them that got off the bus, and they all went across the street to the Social Security Administration building. And then the same thing happened just up the street. I was still behind the bus because I was, watching this thing go down. And then they stopped at the county welfare office. The county welfare office, or maybe it was the state welfare office, and another like 15 to 20, and they weren't like Latinos, they were all Asian, and they all got off at the county welfare office. Another load of them. It was bizarre. And I just was like going, oh my God, what the hell is going on around here? It's a freaking, like, invasion of the Chinese here. And this is just, it's just going on. And that was just what I saw with my own two eyes. That kind of freaked me the hell out. And I remember looking at one of them as I was passing, looking at one of them in the eye, and of course they quickly divert their eyes. You know what I mean? When you're looking at them? Oh my goodness. I think this is a lot worse than what anybody even thinks. It's not just Latinos coming in from the border down there, dude. It's just, it's the entire world.
Well, now, you know, they even have signs in Chinese down there. We got people from all over the world coming in here.
It's really, really, really getting bad. I mean, just way worse than anybody could ever think. And guess what? China needs women.
Yeah, like Jules always says.
They're coming for us. I ain't kidding. This is just really, really bad deal, man. Look, I'm not racist.
It doesn't have anything to do with race. No. It really doesn't. You know, but they make race about everything's about race, but it's not at all.
No, I mean, and we've said this over and over and over. I mean, if you try to go into Switzerland or any of the, you know, some of these European countries, you need, you know,
a proof of a place to live. Well, you need, go to Mexico across the border without going through customs, man. They'll shoot you.
Exactly. You need a ton of money to get into Switzerland. You have to have, like, you know, a minimum of like $50,000, I think, to even get in to even be considered for residency there. Yeah, and if you go into Mexico, they will shoot you.
Well, get this one here. I just come across, and this is Obama. It says, White House preps legal case for immigration steps. Washington. With impeachment threats and potential lawsuits looming, President Barack Obama knows whatever executive actions he takes on immigration will face intense opposition. So as a self-imposed end-of-summer deadline to act approaches, Obama's lawyers are carefully crafting a legal rationale they believe will withstand scrutiny and survive any court challenges, administration officials say. The argument goes something like this. Beyond failing to fix broken immigration laws, Congress hasn't even provided the government with enough resources to fully enforce the laws already on the books. With roughly 11.5 million immigrants in the U.S. illegally, far more than the government could reasonably deport. That's questionable. The White House believes it has wide latitude to prioritize which of those individuals should be sent home. But Republicans, too, are exposing their legal options for stopping Obama from what they've deemed erogenous presidential overreach. While Obama has yet to receive the formal recommendations, he's requested from Homeland Security Secretary Jed Johnson. Administration officials said the president is intimately familiar with the universe of options and won't spend much time debating once Johnson delivers his report. Obama's goal had been to announce his decision around Labor Day before leaving on a trip next week to Estonia and Wales. Oh, my God. But a host of national security crises have pushed the announcement back, likely until after Obama returns, said officials, who weren't authorized to comment by name and demand anonymity. Okay, now, from what this says, he was going to give a speech and then leave the country again. But now he's going to leave the country and make the speech when he gets back. This is, and it goes on. Roughly 500,000 have benefited from that program known as Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. But while prosecutors are routinely expected to use their discretion on a case-by-case basis, such blanket exemptions of entire categories of people has never been done on the scale of what Obama is considering, potentially involving many millions of people if he extends relief to parents of DACA children close relatives of United States citizens, immigrants with clean criminal records. So what he's saying, if you have a relative here, you know, you can stay. Or the kids that are here, their mothers can come.
Yeah, shit. Get their freaking fourth and fifth cousins too while they're at it. Damn.
Yeah, it goes, okay. The question is, how broadly can the president extend the categories and still stay on the side of spectrum of ensuring the laws are faithfully executed, says Cristina Rodriguez, who left the Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel in 2013 to teach at Yale School. Other options under consideration, such as changes to how green cards are distributed and counted, might be less controversial because of the support they enjoy from the business community and other influential groups. But Derek Morgan, a former advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney and a scholar at the Conservative Heritage Foundation, said Obama will still face staunch opposition as long as he attempts an end run around Congress. I don't even know what Congress is doing there anymore. You know, I mean, they don't ask any hard questions. They don't. I mean, this Congress has done nothing for the people.
They're not following any of this country's laws, and Obama just thinks that he can just write all these executive actions, and he'll remain untouched. When in fact it's absolute treason. All of this stuff is called treason. They are usurping the laws of this nation, and no one's paying the piper.
Mm-hmm. You know, what Obama's threatening is really to rewrite our immigration laws unilaterally.
Right, without congressional approval.
Yeah, and then here, if the president fails to faithfully execute the laws of our country, we will hold him accountable, Borner said, according to an individual who participated in the call. Yeah, I want to know, in the last, say, 5 years, how many of Congress or in the executive have been held accountable for any wrongdoing?
Right. I mean, let's go down the list. I mean, how many gates are there out there? I've said this over and over again.
Right. You know, and most people have forgotten about the IRS thing that's debunkled that's going on. Now they've started another committee with more powers. But, you know, this is the agency that affects every person in this country. This is the agency that can come with guns and take everything you own if you didn't give them money. It's extortion.
I guess the IRS I saw this recently somewhere, I guess, and I don't want to get off the topic here, but I guess the IRS
it's all part of it.
Yeah, it is all part of it. You're right. I guess they destroyed Lois Lerner's old BlackBerry, so.
I know. And then didn't they do what is that when you go, the court gives you what is
a subpoena?
No, when you don't go along with the court.
It's obstruction of justice. It's yeah, I know.
Oh no, contempt of court. I thought there was a contempt of court put down on it too.
There is, but she hasn't. You know, nothing's happened with that.
Yeah, and look at these people. They're up there. They're lying. One of the head people in the IRS couldn't name one person in their office. Couldn't name one person that reported to them.
This is, yeah. I don't know. I'm very afraid for this country. Let me tell you right now. I mean, you're looking outside and the birds are chirping right now and the sun is shining or whatever, but the cloud that's coming over us right now is going, it's so black and so thick, it's like, I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to see it disperse once it descends on us.
Right, and now we're seeing fraud all through the Obamacare situation. You know, I mean, this government needs to be ousted. The whole government, just completely go in there and arrest every one of them.
The Department of Justice is out of freaking hand right now.
Mm-hmm. You know,
The Department of Justice seems to be directing all this crap.
a lot of it, and Homeland Security. I mean,
Yeah.
they're getting all this money, and they're doing nothing. You know, I thought Homeland Security. Why aren't they all down on the border to secure? You know, they're
Yeah.
to secure the homeland.
Yeah, take all that brand new shiny ammo that you guys got and freaking go protect our borders. What the hell's, I mean, there's supposed to be Homeland Security, so in other words, they are just as culpable if, if terrorists come in over the border. Don't you think Homeland Security would be just as culpable as like the FBI or perhaps CIA?
More so.
You know what I'm saying? That's their
More so.
job. It's supposed to be Homeland Security. But no.
Yeah.
The freaking checkpoints are 100 miles past the freaking border, spying on Americans.
Yeah, you know, and it's. I don't. Well, we at least in California we did pass a law that they can't use drones without a warrant to spy on us. But
How easily is that going to be overturned?
right, they write their own warrants.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a drone story out here. Let me finish. Let's finish out
Okay.
this damn topic. We've been talking about it for an hour, but there's so much news about it. It's hard to ignore. So we better be talking about it.
Yeah.
Here's one. Are you done reading that one?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, that was it. It says Justice Department again. The Justice Department opens new asylum gate. Asylum Gate. Hey, you know what? That's a good name for this border crisis. We should call it Asylum Gate. That's pretty good. It says the Justice Department opens new asylum gate for Guatemalans. The Department of Justice's Board of Immigration Appeals has decided to let Guatemalan women win asylum in the United States if they can claim to be victims of domestic violence. Shit. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, you guys. This just making me so sick. I can't even deal with this anymore. The decision creates a huge new incentive for Guatemalan women to cross the U.S. border because if their asylum claim is accepted, their children get U.S. citizenship plus the youth of federal health, education, and retirement programs, regardless of their initial education and work skills. Holy crap! So if everybody who's like in their 40s right now, who's an American citizen, the retirement programs are going to be gone. If you're my age, like in your 40s, it's going to be gone by the time you reach 60. So there won't be any more retirement left for you, or healthcare, or education. It's all going to go to these people. Says the new decision also means that many of the Guatemalan women who have already crossed the border this year have a new claim for asylum. Oh, isn't that nice? Under this breaking decision from the Board of Immigration Appeals, many migrant women detained at the detention center, Asteria, no, I didn't say that right. Artesia, that's what it says, may be eligible for asylum, said an August 26 tweet from Ben Wingard, a lawyer who is paid to help foreigners win residency and citizenship. Boy, that guy's a scumbag, isn't he? Let's see, this long overdue BIA decision should make many foreign victims of domestic violence eligible for asylum, said Wingard, a liberal advocate who is based in Alexandria, Virginia. Wow, somebody needs to call his freaking office. Tell him a thing or two. Come on. The decision was announced on August 26th, so 2 days ago, guys. The decision from the Board of Immigration Appeals at President Barack Obama's Department of Justice. So this dovetails into what you were just reading, Zori, because they're literally trying to. You can see Obama's lawyers just racking their brains and how do we write things so that these people can stay. And this is obviously an example of what you just read. Let me just continue real quick. The board's decision will likely accelerate the rapid growth in asylum awards to foreigners. For example, the number of foreigners who successfully fled asylum claims in the United States has almost tripled from 2012 to 2013, up to 30,393. That's quite a few. Coyote, and you know, when they throw these numbers out, guys, you know that these are just conservative numbers and numbers that are likely pulled out of the hat. That doesn't reflect the true numbers that are out there. Never forget that. All right, it says coyotes and migrants in Central America are exploiting the administration's lax policies. How do you think? From October 1st to July 31st, almost 56,000 adults and children from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras crossed the border to file asylum claims following the White House. That there is a lot more than 56,000 people doing that. Yeah, these numbers, they're it's not even worth citing these numbers because they're not accurate, okay? Another 57 or 58,000 accompanied alien minors were brought by coyotes to the U.S. border in expectation that federal agencies will deliver minors to their parents and relatives already living in the United States. We know all that already. In fact, you just read that. Let's see. Well, I think that pretty much covers that. I won't keep going on because it's just repeating everything that we've already pretty much read. Married women in Guatemala who are unable to leave their relationship, here we go, can constitute a cognizable particular social, I didn't say that right, cognizable, that's what it says, particular social group that forms the basis of a claim or asylum or withholding of removal, said the agreement in the Immigration Board's decision. That didn't make any sense. Did that make any sense to you?
Not really.
So this is part, let me read it again. Married women in Guatemala who, alright, let me, this is what's written in this particular ruling here from the Department of Justice. It says, depending on the facts and evidence in an individual case, married women in Guatemala who are unable to leave their relationship, unquote, can constitute a cognizable particular social group that forms the basis of a claim or asylum or withholding of removal. That's what it says. It makes no freaking sense. It's all lawyer speak that has no meaning. These words mean nothing. And I don't know. I can decipher lawyer speak, but I couldn't decipher that.
Well, you know, it's like I've said for a long time. It used to be that I just thought I was dumb when I would listen to their speeches or listen to when they gave an answer about anything, and it never made any sense to me. Well, now, you know, double speak, it's where they can go in circles. They even get coaxed on how to say nothing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know? Oh, yeah. That's definitely, you're absolutely right about that. They get coached in all this crap. That's nuts. let's see. Let me continue because this is weird. It says, quote, "We find that the lead respondent, a victim of domestic violence in her native country, is a member of a particular social group comprised of married women in Guatemala who are unable to leave their relationship," it said. What the hell is the deal with that? The woman and her 3 children entered the country in 2005. She was slated for deportation in 2009 and then appealed to the board. Since 2009, the Department of Homeland Security quietly reversed a prior policy that said the victims of domestic violence don't count as a, quote, social group, unquote, quote-unquote social group for immigration purposes. So this is their little
So they're not recognized as a group?
No, they're not recognized as a social group to be like undocumented children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me keep going here. I was trying to. Oh God, this thing keeps playing in my ear. I'm sorry, guys.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it? Dude, I don't even know why this is. I'm sorry. I just totally lost my place and everything. Alright, I'll try to do with this. Alright. This is so annoying to me in my ear. The women are... Alright, so I already read that. Sorry, I'm trying to find my place, guys. Since 2009, the Department of Homeland Security quietly reversed a prior policy that said victims of domestic violence don't count as a social group for immigration purposes. Under the DHS's new policy, DHS officials told the immigration court that the respondent established that she suffered past harm rising to the level of persecution and that the persecution was on account of a particular social group comprised of a married woman in Guatemala who are unable to leave their relationships. In other words, according to the appeals board. All right, so guys, this is what I'm thinking about this. It seems to me that if you are, if a Guatemalan woman and the whole community is like suffering because they're starving or there's a narco state going on, shooting in the streets, then that constitutes spousal abuse.
That's crazy.
That is what this is saying to me. Anyway, this is how I'm deciphering this. The immigration courts are part of the Justice Department. The immigration courts are part of the Department of Justice, not the judiciary. So, so
how is this
that kind of
humanitarian?
It's not. This thing keeps playing and it drives me nuts. I'm almost done with this. That dovetails with what I was reading about the immigration courts. Those people, the judges themselves, are ready to call it quits because the workload, the caseload is so intense. The Department of Justice is completely libelous, in my opinion. The August 26th decision is a victory for the progressive groups now trying to help many foreigners become citizens, and as far as I'm concerned, they're culpable as well. The domestic violence decision will likely be used as a precedent in the future immigration cases that will be brought on behalf of other women in South American, African, and Asia. Okay, that's interesting. Outside the United States, hundreds of millions of women suffer from domestic violence, according to an advocacy report by the United Nations and World Health Organization. Overall, 35% women worldwide have experienced either physical and or sexual intimate partner violence and or non-partner sexual violence. So if they get raped in the streets, that's also considered domestic violence, apparently.
Yeah.
Said the 2013 report, which is titled, quote, Global and Regional Estimates of Violence Against Women. God. There is a clear need to scale up efforts across a range of sectors to both to prevent violence from happening in the first place and provide necessary services for women experiencing violence, the UN report said. I can close this crap out playing in my ear now. Thank God. It's pissing me off. Ugh. My goodness. So, there we have that. That's good that that's the last story about that, because that kind of encompassed like exactly what we've been talking about like the whole morning.
Yeah, and it's just a short few lines, but it says a lot. Merkel says U.S. can't solve all the world's problems anymore. First Russia and China, then the UAE, Egypt, and Turkey, and now it appears Germany, following a phone call with Putin, is pulling the rug out from under U.S. hegemony just as Obama's warmongering ramps up. Which is odd because just yesterday, President Obama, who never lies, stated, "The United States is and will remain the one indispensable nation in the world," adding that no other nation can do what we do. Perhaps he is wrong. So,
well, here's the problem. They, just in the story that I just read, and various other places around the world or whatever, this like other issues, they're consulting with the freaking United Nations. Mm-hmm. Not even consulting, but using the UN's policies and figures, for...
Even if they go against ours.
Yeah, justification of all this implementation coming down of, like, a total UN agenda. And this is becoming so freaking obvious. And they're doing it without congressional approval, all of it.
Well, wasn't it Obama who said that he went, we go into Syria under orders through the UN?
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and oh my God. So this is definitely, and then the North American Union thing is all part of this UN agenda. So we are really facing, just with this illegal immigration crap and all this climate change crap that they're trying to force down our throats. We're on the road to world government here, people. So,
and they're letting all these people in here, and how are we going to feed them, for one thing?
Well, that's the thing. I think they're coming in because it's going to take out the middle class by creating a larger, poorer class to overtake everything else. This is communism, socialism in its purest form. This is how they've taken out pretty much the whole of these countries that these people are coming from. There, made them all poor. They've gone in there with their economic hitmen, taken their entire economic structure out, and now they're going to do the same here.
Yeah, I can't remember our solving not one problem anywhere in the world. I can remember plenty of times creating problems.
Oh, that's all we ever do is run around, create problems everywhere.
And all this, we fund the militants, and then we fight the militants.
Well,
and they're fighting us with our own weapons. This is crazy. It's insanity.
Part of this destabilization around the world, and now the destabilization plan is in the form of the illegals coming in across the border. That's America's destabilization plan, and they run around, and then they're going to couple that with worldwide like climate restrictions. You know what I mean? They're going to restrict, like, factories, and that's why we're seeing the factories leaving the U.S. shores, because they're going to start, they all know, all these corporations have the inside track that they're going to start to impose like restrictions, climate restrictions on factories. That's why they're leaving here in droves. You know what I mean? And it's all coming from UN-based Agenda 21 ideals and documents that they're absolutely implementing, and it kind of it all dovetails into this whole thing. Here and here we go again. You have the, like in the article I just read, the Department of Justice is citing UN policies or whatever. They're adopting these policies in terms of these domestic violence on women, and there's the path to citizenship. Here's on the another realm that Obama is doing. He seeks to bypass Congress for UN climate change deal. That was a big deal. Like yesterday, I think that was going around. So I don't know if anybody has seen that. Have you seen that?
I read the heading, but I didn't read the article. Yeah, why do they keep going back to that? You know, they've been so discredited on all that, and yet, you know, they keep bringing it up and bringing it up.
Yeah, I just read that the other day, like how the climate people in Australia are fudging the numbers to fit the global warming model. But the point here really isn't. I guess it is. It's just the fact that he's adopting the UN, these UN treaties or whatever the hell they say that they're following, and this is just they're making the move to take over the United States right now. They're busting the move right now. It says the Obama administration is looking to reach a quote sweeping international climate change agreement unquote that would not be a formal treaty that would require 2/3 of Senate approval, which almost certainly would never happen, the New York Times reported. Diplomats are trying to reach a deal in time for a 2015 meeting in Paris, and U.S. negotiators are pushing for an approach that would commit every signatory nation to certain goals on reducing carbon dioxide emissions and on spending money to poorer countries to help them handle the effects of global warming. But the nations would be obliged to meet these goals. According to the Times, the only legally binding consequence of not doing so would be periodic progress reports and politically embarrassing meetings designed to identify which countries did or did not meet their goals. So that's only the first step, guys. Then they're going to start fining them. Then they're going to, you know what I mean? You can see the little steps going up to this total freaking fascism that we're seeing here. To sidestep that treaty ratification requirement, President Obama's climate negotiators are devising what, see, they're devising here too, devising what they call a politically binding deal that would name and shame countries into cutting their emissions. Oh, big deal. If you want a deal that includes all the major emitters, including the U.S., you cannot realistically pursue a legally binding treaty at this time. Paul Beldsoe, who worked on climate change issues with both the Clinton and Obama administrations, told the Times. The legal framework American legislators are pursuing, according to the Times, is to take a deal reached at the 1992 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and add it to voluntary. That's what they say, guys. That decade-old pact, formerly called the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, was ratified by the U.S. and is legally binding. The six would create a deal that would update the treaty and thus, negotiators say, will not require a new vote of ratification. Several foreign diplomats told the Times they understand the political realities in the U.S. and are willing to take an approach that would not repeat the 1997 Kyoto Protocol fiasco. I don't know if I want to keep reading this. Basically, they're saying that they don't need any approval at all. I don't know. This is not good. I'm just going to skip the rest of this, I think. What they're going to do is, in the United States and in Europe, they're going to, put all these rules and regulations on, like, factories and corporations or whatever. Meanwhile, they can go into China and India, where there's no rules at all. You know what I mean? This is obvious what's happening here. So it's a multi-pronged effect to ram these final nails into the coffin of this country here and other countries around the world, tell you honestly. So there you go, and they're going to do it through this climate change and open borders. And that's going to be well enough to do, I think, what they need to be doing. And then what the Agenda 21 thing, that's why they're attacking, like, small farms and people living out in rural areas now and that have, their own, like, solar panels and their own water cisterns and whatever else they have that live off the grid. They're attacking those people, like in this country, so we can see where all this stuff is heading.
And then finally somebody says it out loud. Sheriff Joe, common sense, ISIS will try to exploit the border.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariposa County, Arizona Sheriff Joe said that he believes ISIS knows the southern border is not secure and that it is common sense that they will exploit the lack of border security on Wednesday's broadcast of Fox News Channel's Hannity. At least someone is saying it out loud. Here they tell us we're under so many threats and then they don't do anything.
Well, this is the line that Fox News is harping on because the conservatives have to have some kind of. Well, I don't care about
conservatives or anything. Common sense tells us that if these people are sending us messages that they want to blow up Chicago or they want to blow up anything, and you put out the welcome mat for them.
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly it. So, but because. I don't know. Keep going, though.
No, that's just, just that alone. Why isn't Congress talking about that when they're talking about immigration and putting up housing for all these people, illegal immigrants and stuff? Why aren't they talking about the terrorists that we formed and then made hate us? All these people from countries that we've gone over and literally destroyed and have every reason in the world to hate us and want to destroy us and then put out the welcome mat.
You know what's funny is that I heard a clip yesterday of Obama saying just that. Well, we've made them mad and now they're gunning for us. He didn't say it just like
Obama
that.
Said that?
Obama said that. And I'm just like going, holy crap. Ron Paul has been saying that for all this time.
Ever since Iraq.
Yeah, exactly. And it's called blowback, asshole. And now you're just now starting to, like, state that publicly. I don't know. He's so, like, double side of a coin, and then tomorrow he'll say something else about it. The exact opposite. When a crisis happens or whatever.
Yeah, and then the media tries to degrade or all they do is talk bad about the militia down there that are trying to do something at the borders or about the ranchers down there that, are going around and with being armed to protect their land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just crazy. Right. It's just so crazy.
Yeah. And so what's some of the solutions for this? I mean, I don't even know anymore.
Get the National Guard back down on our border and all law enforcement that, they keep saying they're going to hire more law. Or how about this? Why don't they take Ferguson's militarized police and put them down there.
Well, wait a minute. Rick Perry he do
called the
something?
National Guard
He
down
called
there.
the National Guard down there. Now, what are they doing? They're going after him now. They're trying to indict him.
Right, but I mean, look at this thing in Ferguson. I mean, they were shooting bullets at Americans, and they had the sound thing out there.
Yeah.
And they had all these cops in full SWAT gear. Why don't you just send them to the border?
Send SWAT teams down to the border?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure enough.
Well, they're militarized now, so let them do militarized work. Let's put them down on the border and see how brave they are.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they could. They absolutely could establish a line like that with the National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If we wanted to stop this, we could.
Yep, and now they're bringing in. I heard that they are bringing in that machine that, when pointed at you, takes your temperature up to 130 degrees, and you're burning up from the inside. They are bringing that here.
Well, I haven't heard this. What is this
you're
thing?
Kidding?
No.
I forget the name of it, but within 100 yards radius, they aim this thing at you, and it literally microwaves you on the inside. And there's nothing shows up on the outside.
It's a microwave weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, and they've been using it over there. Well, now that's going to be some lucky city's going to get that.
Well, I'm sure they've got like several of those rolled out. That sounds kind of like older technology, maybe.
Well, I don't think it's that old. Where they can just point a beam at you.
Sure. Microwave weapons, okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's going to come. All of these weapons are coming here, people, even to rural areas.
They're already here.
Yeah, and it really showed up during Ferguson. And, now Obama
they used
says
a sound
he's going to
cannon
investigate.
in Ferguson.
Huh?
They used a sound cannon in Ferguson. That's for sure.
And so many complaints came in, and people seen something they had no clue about. Unlike us, they didn't know that this could happen. And I heard Obama said he's going to start an investigation into demilitarizing the law enforcement. And the law enforcement lobbyists are all out there pushing for more. So,
Yeah, he's not going to launch any kind of investigation at all.
Well, no, that's like what he wanted in his campaign. I want a standing civil army that will equal our military.
Mm-hmm.
That was right there in his campaign. So he got what he wanted. Now he's saying, that shouldn't happen. We should start an investigation.
Oh, look, Shali joined us in the chat room. Hi, Shali.
Hi, Shali.
Hi to everybody else in the chat room, too.
Yeah, this is getting so crazy,
Yes, this is live. Yes, we are live. Yeah, it's gone so far beyond the pale. I mean, where do we start in terms of arresting these people? I mean, nobody...
right, no solutions, and there's got to be a solution. They're just, and especially with Congress, why can't we make these people be held accountable? They get up, they lie, they perjure, they make up false accusations, they take the fifth when they've already testified, but yet no one gets charged with perjury, and the lies just keep going and going and going.
Absolutely.
And the intelligence of our Congress should be questioned. Like that one congressman, I can't remember his name, but he sat there and was trying to convince us that an island, if too many people were on it, could tip over. Do you remember him?
No.
He's a black man, and he was... I can't remember, but that is actually what he said. He said if there's too many people on, I forget what island it was, but couldn't it tip over?
Oh,
and, I wish I could remember. I have the video someplace, but I mean, some of the remarks makes you go, how are these people? I don't know.
Well, how do these people even have a job?
Yeah, and
let alone such a high-powered job that influences the rest of our lives. Oh my God! But this is what we're dealing with. This is the mindset, and that's what I'm asking is, how the hell do you battle that kind of mindset? People are just so ingrained with this mindset. You know, I don't know.
And then when you've corrupted the judges, you can't even
Yeah.
go through the judicial system.
Not at all. Everything's compromised. Everything has been co-opted, and it's literally a takeover in slow motion of this country is being usurped right now.
It's not really so slow motion anymore, you know.
Right.
And I mean, that's really the crust of it too. Is our judicial system has been corrupted, and that was our. You know, we're supposed to be a country of the law, but what do you do, and how do you fight the law when the law
isn't being followed? Right.
Right.
Absolutely. When it's not being followed, it's not being enforced. Selective enforcement of the law. That's what we see rampant everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just everywhere.
And law enforcement is so corrupt that they can beat a man to death on video and then no charges, which also gives a license to any other cop that is having a bad day to beat someone else to death. Well,
I mean, that's what's happening. That's what a police state is comprised of. So this is their ultimate goal. And the reasons why the borders are open and everybody can just come in, whatever, is that they're inviting this to happen so that they can put troops on the streets.
You can't, and you know, there's no trust in the government. We know that. Even straight, you know, lay citizens that believed in the government, they don't even have faith in the government, and they're doing nothing except making so many laws to make us all criminals. Then they get to take
over.
Laws that can't be enforced, laws that can't be understood. Like that cop arresting that mom for using a prohibited word, taking her off to jail. It's just, you know, I mean, the stupidest things, and yet cops can go around killing people.
Sure, and the borders can be wide open. So we can see. I think it's plain. I think the agenda here is very plain to see. So again,
what can we do?
Right. What the hell can we do about this? And because it's so blatant in our faces right now. But nobody is doing their jobs in order to stop any of this from happening. It's just being allowed to happen in every single facet of our society from the ground up now. One
thing that would be a big start would be stop allowing police to police themselves. Start there, because those are the ones we have interactions with. You know, almost on a daily basis. They're all around us. And,
I mean,
how do we stop that? Because law enforcement's lobbyists are very large. And, you know, even trying to demilitarize them, you can't. You have to stop the law from being able to investigate. Why not let all criminals investigate criminals? It's the same thing. It's got to stop, and that's one of the main things. And then from there, we could step up to Congress and hold them accountable.
Well, how is that going to even start, though? How would you even begin something like that? You know what I mean? Because the corruption is so deep down and entrenched. You literally have to go into your own communities and route it out from there.
You'd have to go back and find out when it started. You know, I don't even remember when it started that the police could investigate themselves. It's like Congress giving themselves...
They've been doing that crap forever.
Yeah, but not forever. It started somewhere.
Well...
I think I'm going to check into that today.
I think here's the thing. If you think back, even to the inception of this country, all the secret societies and stuff, judges and police and lawyers and things like that were all members of these secret societies, so they were entities that investigated themselves. It's been happening forever and ever and ever. Literally, you can keep thinking. I mean, even going back to like Rome and stuff like that. That's how, you know what I mean? It's been. I don't know.
I think their union had something to do with it.
Yeah, the unions totally have something to do with it, and the judicial branch has everything to do with this kind of stuff. I mean, just like I was saying on Tuesday or Monday, I think I said it on Monday. I don't know. I think the answer's more to the point of, I think the answer lies in taking back your local communities. Like for instance, the people in this public school in Massachusetts that's taking in all these illegals, I think that the counties on a county level should say, no, we're not going to follow the Department of Justice's by whatever their little, things that they're putting on the books, just because the Department of Justice says that you can do this. I think that local communities can say, no, we're not doing this. We've got our own laws that we're following. Screw you. And I think we've got to take it back on a local level and rout out all the corruption. But it's hard because...
But the only thing there is federal law trumps state law.
Well, that's what people think. And it's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I went in and I really did a lot of research on that, and it is. And it's wrong. States have their own constitutions and stuff, but if it goes against the feds, like pot. Take pot, for instance. If you have a subscription in California, it is legal to have your marijuana, but the feds can still come in and arrest you, trumping state law.
Right. I mean, but I think this isn't the illusion that people are under, and that's why I think that. Hey, I think we've got Shali on the line.
Oh, cool. Well, the one thing is, though, the sheriff can stop the feds, but they don't.
Right. How you doing, Shali?
Oh, I'm good.
Hey, Shali.
Good to hear you.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Trying to come up with some solutions here.
Yeah, we're trying to come up with some solutions here as to how we can turn this stuff around, but the corruption's so damn entrenched, and has been for so long. I mean, there's secret society, there's Masons all crawling around this area that I'm at. I mean, This little town was founded by them, so they've got their tentacles pretty far down. It's hard to get these people out.
Well, I think it's that they don't even know that they're part of something's very insidious. They think they use people's need to be part of something, to be like tribal or whatever. So that's what Freemasonry is, where it pulls everybody in and says, "Hey, you can be part of this. You can be part of that." Mm-hmm. When I went to the Masonic Hall in Philadelphia. And, somebody had said, "Oh, you didn't take a tour of the place," and by then I kind of knew that, there was something up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a big tour, maybe about 15 people or so.
Oh, wow. So they actually had a guided tour?
Yeah, they do. They have guided tours, yeah. And then they and it's beautiful inside. I mean, the architecture, but then you see the symbols and things like that. You see the Hebrew type symbols and... Mm-hmm. And things like that, that something's up, and
absolutely,
it's truly about with the police officers and everything in this world. It's like how do I get better than you? Everybody feels like they're and I think. It's something that I heard yesterday, just kind of cruising around, and I tune into a whole bunch of stuff, and I turned on Alex Jonestein. And he was talking about existential envy.
Yes.
And he was really making a lot of sense, and it was something that was, I looked it up later on in the day and everything, but everybody is so envious of everyone else for some reason, way, shape, or form. And these cops, like, look, my nephew now wants to become a cop.
Oh, how old is he?
Because he said he wants to get over on the system. So I said,
that's where it is. It is.
Right? See, so I also saw a movie yesterday called The Giver. I don't know if you ladies heard about it, but it was a pretty interesting movie. I saw the previews for it during the summer. I saw the previews for it, and it was about this society that was created, this basically like a town that they had strict rules that you couldn't use certain language, and I mean everybody was very polite to everyone. Like when someone said, I apologize for this, and then everybody was like, in synchronicity, they were like, we accept your apology, and they were nice people and everything. But what happened was, as you went along, you met these like three young people. This one kid named Jonas, his girlfriend, but there wasn't any touching, so it wasn't his girlfriend in the the beneficial way.
Right.
And his friend, his buddy, who was like the town, he was like the jokester. So everybody was allowed to exhibit a certain amount of who they were, but you couldn't touch each other, and you had to stay within a certain behavioral thing. But you could do certain things that you wouldn't be punished. But anyway, they would graduate. They would get to a certain point, and they would all be assigned certain things. Like the girl, she was assigned to be a nurturer, so she was going to be like a nurse, or she would take care of the children that were. I mean, these families were put together. They were not families that had children.
Right.
Okay, and it looked incredible. The architecture, the homes were nice. Like the whole thing, they had bicycles that they that they would ride around in, and it was all kind of in like black and white in the beginning. Like the whole movie was in black and white. So this one guy Jonas, as they're getting assigned these different things that they're doing, he was like the last one standing, and Meryl Streep was in this, so they must have thought she probably thought that it was a good something or whatever, but who knows what makes people do what in Hollywood. And
she's a creep, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. I know.
Creeps me out.
It just there's something about her, but she's Hollywood royalty, by the way.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they made him like this receiver of thoughts. And from that point, his buddy went to be like, he was flying drones. They had like, the drones that would fly around.
Uh-huh.
That gives you reminds you of something. And so he would go to this guy who was the giver, and that's what obviously the movie's called that. And he would be introduced these thoughts and things of what the world used to be. Like he would just they would just grab arms or something like that, and he would transfer these thoughts. And he at one point he walked in and saw a dude it was the dude from, I forget what his name is, but the dude from The Big Lebowski. He was one of the elders, and he was like wriggling on the ground, screaming and stuff. And then as Jonas came down to say what's going on, he grabbed him, and as soon as he did, he saw this like war scene, like where people were getting shot, snipers, the whole deal, like Nam or something like that. And then he couldn't believe that there was such violence in the world, right?
Right.
He also told, like, every time they would leave their dwelling, they would have to like put their arm on this thing, and it was like that would vaccinate them in some way.
Shit.
And the system would tell them this, and then and it was weird how it all kind of came to started happening, because he said, yeah, and he basically was telling them the truth. He said, listen, now those things, those nutrients that you take, they don't give you something. They take something away, and of course it was your emotion.
Right.
It took away but they all were like, kind of zombie, but it was a nice, like, kind of like, hello, how are you? We're friends. We're
a Brave New World type zombie state.
Yeah, where there was nothing, and then they would call it like precise language or something. If you were to say something that if you were to step outside the programming, they would say, your parental units would say, oh, precise language, or or say something in a sense like, hey, that was inappropriate. That let's steer away from that.
But then what happened to the people if they did break the rules? I mean,
well, he eventually broke the rules because this giver guy, and I don't want to give too much away just in case you want to say it, but he wants to transfer this knowledge because he knows what's going on is wrong.
Mm.
So he transfers this knowledge, and they live in this. It's almost like on a mountaintop where it's all kind of flattened out, and they built this community. And they're not allowed to go to the edge. They call it the edge, where you could fall off the edge or something. And the giver was like where his dwelling was, and they didn't call them homes; they called them dwellings. They would. He was like right there on the edge, so he would teach him these things. And then there was a past, like people that they like himself that they tried to pull through the system, but it was just like. Why, if you didn't want things to change, that was the weird thing about the movie, why, if you didn't want things to change, why would you even create a receiver of thoughts so that,
right.
Because the elders knew, almost as if like the movie, what the heck was it, the M. Night Shyamalan, or where they lived in the middle of a, it was land that was owned by people, and they wouldn't even allow planes to fly over it because they didn't want the children. They moved the community because the world outside was so horrible and dangerous that they brought their families in and raised them. Yeah, it was like a commune, but I forget. It was one of those the village. Yeah, it was called the village.
Weird.
So he pulled them in, and then you find out later that this isn't, it looks like it's like the late 1800s or something, but it's not. And they're living there because they're being protected by the parents who know that the world out there is run by filthy, stinking banker, political.
There's another movie that has the theme exactly along those same lines. It's called The Island.
Yeah.
You ever seen that before?
Yeah, they're all. Yep.
Read Ayn Rand's book Atlantis?
No, I never read any Ayn Rand.
Well, this one quote from there, it's just amazing. And it goes, "There's no way to rule innocent men. The only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there aren't enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Who wants a nation of law-abiding citizens? What's there in it for anyone but just pass the kind of laws that can neither be observed nor enforced nor objectively interpreted, and you create a nation of lawbreakers, and then you cash in on the guilt."
Yeah.
Does that not describe exactly where we are?
Yeah, they've been talking about this for a long time, and they put it in these movies and reinforce it, and, it's basically different scenarios, but it's basically all the same message. You know what I mean?
Like that little mother getting arrested for saying the word "fuck" and taken to jail. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously getting worse. Look at the deception. Yesterday. Well, actually, when I got online this morning, it said basic something about the Russians are attacking our banks, are hacking our banks.
Yeah. Yep,
now, is that happening, or is that not happening, or was it something that someone did? One of these control groups did like some kind of short little hack that somebody said, "Hey, that's weird," and then they
Bringing
because they
cyber
can just
patrol.
they can clone an IP address and make it look like it's coming from Russia.
Exactly.
And then boom, and then say, oh, now they're hacking our banks because we have sanctions against them, which are really only hurting, large scale, are only hurting us.
Yes.
I mean, when you read past some of the things that are going on right now with this whole BRICS thing and all these other nations that are moving away from the dollar.
Yeah.
There's so many. It really kind of makes sense, like why all these things are happening the way they are right now. With they want
China.
They want to be able to create, obviously a lot of chaos, but eventually, what do we got? I mean, I'd be honest with you right now. If I had money, if I had a good amount of money, I would leave this country.
Where would you go, though? Because it's pretty much everywhere. There's nowhere to go.
Is one country. I mean, Belize is beautiful down there. Except they have some pretty strange laws, too, though.
Well, South America. I mean, it's all run. Just look at it. I mean, there's a documentary that I watched the other night. It was called A Standing Army.
Oh, yeah? I've never
Go ahead and write that down. You can probably find it online, maybe over at topdocumentaryfilms.com. And it was called Standing Army, and of course, the people that are in it and have made comments. Chomsky is in it, and say what you want about him, but he definitely points out Jewish power. He definitely points out exactly how we're being, all the negative things that this government and DC and everything is put out, the unholy alliance between DC and Wall Street and all that other stuff. So he points all that stuff out. But this is about basically saying how it points out all of these different military bases, U.S. military bases that have been erected in the wake of World War II. They talk about Diego Garcia, and how the people have been displaced there. They things that obviously you will never hear, but they talk about and they show all these different locations where these military bases have displaced the inhabitants there, and it's pretty much because whoever the guy or puppet or whoever was ruling that country at the time said, okay, it's cool, you can build a military base here. And he said, oh, whatever. If the people have a problem with it, fuck them.
Right. We never.
Well, that's what our government says about us too.
Yeah, they said we do whatever we want to do because we can.
Right.
And at least in this country, they sell us with bullshit and other methods. They just don't come out right and say, "Hey, we're just going to build this and fuck you." And if it's on top of your house, we're just going to drop a slab of concrete over the whole area and you're done.
They just declare eminent domain across the entire world. You know what I mean? It's like
it's apparent that we've got a lot of politicians that are involved in a lot of this stuff, but a lot of them that are good people that actually have are against this stuff are afraid to speak out. We're at that point. It's like somebody being afraid of being labeled an anti-Semite or somebody being afraid of being labeled this. In D.C., if you get labeled, look at the local level over there in Texas. That woman who is the sole reason why Rick Perry, again, not a real nice guy, but you have to understand that he's being indicted because she is a member of the tribe, and he's going against her. I don't even know what her name is. She's just a hideous Baphomet creature.
That's funny.
But I mean, she is the reason why, and of course, I think Perry's coming to the realization that, or maybe just out of his own selfishness, that, you know what? Oh my God, I could have illegals sleeping on top of the governor's mansion or something like that. You know?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
maybe he's fully understanding the implications of what's going on down there and how immigration is obviously going to be used to destroy Texas and destroy turn that from a red state to a blue state. And you look, as I said, you look at this prosecutor who thinks that she's above the law, who gets drunk, drives into things, smashes into things, and then says, "Don't you know who the fuck I am?" And I would be like, "You're the fucking devil, bitch. You're the fucking devil."
What's his name? Did you call what's his name? Like, she's above the law because she's a prosecutor. How many?
And because she's a Jew. And because she's a Jew. Okay.
Right?
that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's because she has achieved, I'm not going to deny her whatever education that she got, but when you get to the point where you're saying, I'm better than you and these rules don't apply to me,
right? It's
either one thing. It's like you're a power hungry or a power tripper, or
narcissist.
You're a power tripping member of the tribe, and that's what she is. And
you're right,
what
damn it.
What you got is Rick Perry at this point, and everybody should be doing something to. But of course, what do you see on late night when you see all this stuff? They're making jokes about Rick Perry.
Well, you're not going to see Rick Perry just blanket like freaking Brown did, just, here, you can all have driver's license. Rick Perry is never going to do that, and they know it. So Rick Perry is not towing the line, so they're going after him. Not that Rick Perry's like all that great, but he did go attend a Bilderberg meeting. I remember that. Do you remember that?
Did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. And of course, they have their ideas of who that they could put in positions of power that they can control and different things like that. And who knows? I mean, this could be a big psyop where Rick Perry prevails, and then he's and then he makes the run for the presidency
the other side,
in 2016. You never know, but I doubt it. But I wouldn't.
think I'd like to move to Uruguay. That little country. We could learn a lot from them.
Right.
That president, he gave up the president's mansion to hold orphans that have been orphaned by the wars and stuff. He just opened it up to them. He lives in a little teeny house. He runs his country from there. They legalized all drugs, and their crime rate's gone down. And one quote that I really liked, and he said, he points to his head. And he adds, freedom is here. Otherwise, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, he'll be dead soon.
He'd been in prison, before. But he's 78 years old, and he got elected president of the country, and he's just awesome. People should look into him.
Oh, he'll have a heart attack soon.
Well, they're not. They're just a little country. They're not bothering nobody. But, I mean, the way he thinks, and the people love him,
Yeah, if he's for real, then that's an incredible occurrence in this world. Unfortunately, those that are for all the good things and freedom and things like that. I mean, they get weeded out.
Oh yeah,
so it's sad, really, but what can you do? I mean, the world's going to do what the world's going to do, and if you point out that the tribe's behind it, then you're an anti-Semite, and
exactly.
See how uncomfortable people get, like even when you say the word, the J word.
It's true, and
they're just like, are there any?
Did you? Yeah, they look around to see if there's any thought police around.
I think there's something in the DNA, that warns us of the. Of the J word and all that other stuff.
I think that it's all based in fear, and that's the bottom line. Because if Congress is afraid to speak out against what's going on, and it's like those movies you were describing. They're afraid to go out because what the outside world is going to do to them. It's going to poison them. Oh,
Logan's,
God. It's all based in
Logan's Run, right?
Yeah,
remember Logan's Run?
Wow, yeah.
They would tell.
You die.
They would tell the people right? The younger people, they were like, oh, they're in this one. They would say that the people were moving on. I forget exactly what the thing was, and as soon as they said that, I was like, they're killing the old.
Yeah,
right. Anyone over 30.
Yep.
Yeah,
and they weren't raised by families. They were born in test tubes and then raised by their government. Like
one of the most touching scenes was how there was this, and there was eugenics involved in it.
Yes,
this kid that was kind of like a dud, but I'm not sure why. I don't know why, but the kid was a dud to them, and so long story short, they put them down. They and the thing is that as the kid became less and less controlled because he figured out a way how to trick the vaccine machine. They brought that kid, the baby, to their dwelling, and there were some really nice scenes where he was just like, where the first time where he realized what love was. And he was like, and the baby was crying and everything. And he looked in, and he was like trying to make the baby stop crying. And of course, he was successful because he was, above the curve. And then he said, "I love you, Gabriel," and it was pretty touching. Just that one thing, they didn't even know what it was. And that's the thing with our world is we don't even know what love is anymore. They're stripping us. They're stripping us of all of our emotions.
Humanity.
They're stripping us of our humanity.
Empathy. We're lacking empathy.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And that's
the
how they get
to
you.
Put yourself in someone else's shoes.
They rob you. They rob you of things that you don't even know that they're taking from you.
Right, and they do it all through fear.
And
And in our schools, they are doing this to our children.
Well, it's not even necessarily just through fear, Wendy. It's the programming. It's the
Sure.
it's the television. So they don't even have to show you fear. They can just show you some kind of crazy something, and then all the desensitizing you to violence, showing all the violence.
Oh,
but
yeah.
hey, you can't protect yourself with a gun. There's all this violence, but we're allowed to show it, but you're not allowed to prepare for it.
Well,
and
it's
they make
also
you feel helpless, and like you got to get help. Like that woman calling the cops on that woman. What made her think she could do that?
Also, on these kind
Because
of
power,
television levels, it's fear of not having like what your neighbor has. Fear of not having like the cool car that your neighbor's got. You know what I mean? It's all it all kind of dovetails in with each other. I think.
We're glorifying snitches. Like people calling in to report someone's using too much water. They get glorified. Oh, thank you so much. You're doing the community a great service. And,
why does a snitch do that? Out of fear that this person is like committing some kind of a crime. Right?
No, I think it's out of grandeur.
Divide and conquer.
That too.
Divide and conquer.
It is divide. Oh my God, there it goes. Thank you, Jolly and Dory,
for joining us.
For being on. That was awesome.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye and take care, you guys. Stay tuned to UCY for more awesome programming. Take care.